Stop the headlines. Turns out those cheating Toyotas over there at Joe Gibbs Racing are pretty damn good.
High, push it, checker flag, hell yeah!
What's the caution for? Me?
Can they not push it in?
Stop anybody.
Come on, these guys! Way to go, boys!
One hell of a job, man, one hell of a job. Thank you so much.
It's the final episode where this show does not have a name. Supposedly, hopefully, we're going to have to wait and see. It is, for now anyway, the unnamed NASCAR Xfinity Series show. Welcome on into the program. I'm Alan Bailey. Lots of stuff to cover over the course of this episode. But before we get on into it, make sure that you mash that subscribe button so that you do not miss an episode. And as always, you can go ahead and log on to arnrace.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. As you can tell, we're kind of gearing up for getting this show on podcasting platforms. That's why I have the headphones on. So make sure that you go ahead and keep up with me on social media at Hey Alan Bailey for links on when and where you can go ahead and start listening to the audio-only portion of the program. This is going to be the final episode where we don't have an official name. We're going to do your fan vote at the end of the program. We're going to put the options of the names that we have collected from you in the comments down below, and we're going to finally name this thing as we head into the first off weekend for the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2024. But let's talk about what we saw out in Phoenix over this last weekend. Chandler Smith picked up the victory out in Phoenix for Joe Gibbs Racing. Not a controversial win, but kind of a heartbreaker right there at the end for Justin Allgaier. Allgaier leading the most laps right there with about 5 to go, 10 to go. Looked like he was going to be the guy that kind of rode off into the sunset and got a victory out there in Phoenix, and then unfortunately had a flat tire go down heading into turn 1, spun it back into the wall, and that was his day, man. Heartbreaker of a heartbreaker for Justin Allgaier. I feel so bad for this guy. I mean, when you're that dominant and that good and running up front that well, and then all of a sudden, whack, bam, done. It just sucks. There's no other way around it. There's no other way to put that. And I feel really bad for the guy, sincerely. But you know what? When you're running that good, you're going to get another chance at a victory sometime this season. I hope to see Justin in victory lane sometime soon because he definitely deserved this one. But Chandler Smith capitalizing on Allgaier and Junior Motorsports' misfortune, picking up the victory out in Phoenix, his first of the season. First for Joe Gibbs Racing since moving back over to Team Toyota. And the first time that we've seen the number 81 get back into victory lane for a hot damn minute. So pretty damn cool to see Joe Gibbs Racing back in victory lane with Chandler Smith. Listen, this guy's a superstar, sincerely. This kid is going to be very, very, very dominant when he takes over the 19 for Martin Truex Jr. Oops, did I say that out loud? I know, but it's coming sooner rather than later, and I do think that that's happening potentially next year, if not 2026. I'm just saying, we don't know how long Martin Truex Jr. is going to continue to drive in the NASCAR Cup Series, but I don't think it's going to be much longer. He's been year to year for the past 3-4 years now, and every year he gets a little closer to retirement, and I think it's coming sooner rather than later. And to be perfectly clear, you have a great roster of drivers in the NASCAR Xfinity Series for Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota. They have a plethora of drivers to pull from. I think Chandler Smith's the guy because he has sponsorship dollars behind him. He is an extraordinarily talented race car driver, and honestly, this combination is exactly what team owners want in 2024. They want somebody who is young, who has the skills to pay the bills and put their cars in victory lane, contend for wins, contend for poles, contend for championships. But also, if you have your own money behind you or some sponsors behind you, that makes it that much better, and Chandler Smith is both. He's the complete package, for lack of a better term, and I do think he's going to be in the Cup Series sooner than we think. As soon as next year, potentially. We're going to have to wait and see what pans out, and definitely another organization can come in and kind of steal Chandler Smith away from Joe Gibbs Racing, but I think he's going to slot into that 19 car maybe next year or the following year. We're just going to have to wait and see how things play out, but Chandler Smith locking himself into the postseason out in Phoenix for the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2024. Really good victory for them. Congratulations to everybody over at Joe Gibbs Racing. It was a clean sweep for Toyota out at Phoenix, winning the ARCA race, not that that matters, and winning the Xfinity and obviously the Cup race with Christopher Bell. Very good very good weekend for Toyota out in Phoenix. And looking at the rest of the finishing order, a couple of notables, I should say. Jesse Love in that number 2 for RCR, coming home second, moves up to 5th in the point standings, just 48 points out right now of the point lead. Damn impressive rookie season this kid has going for him. It's just a matter of time before he's in victory lane. I'm not saying he should have or could have won this weekend. I think Chandler Smith was the number 2 to Justin Allgaier's car, but yeah, when you're running top fives this consistently, you're going to get a victory. It's just a question of when, not if. And I do think he's definitely right there knocking on the door. It's just a question of when is he going to go ahead and break on through and get that victory. And I do think it's coming a lot sooner than we think. Sheldon Creed just can't catch a break. He comes home third out in Phoenix, moves up to 6th in the point standings, just 53 points out of the point lead. But damn, this is the guy who left RCR because he was sick of playing second fiddle to his teammate Austin Hill. And then in 2024, joins up with Joe Gibbs Racing, and he's playing second fiddle to Chandler Smith, who wins the race. And even worse, Jesse Love, who finishes in front of him in his old car. I mean, you can't write this. You really can't. Sheldon, I think, is a very, very, very good driver. I really do. But there's just something missing over there. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's the car. I don't know what it is, but he's a number 2 driver. And I don't mean to put him in that box. I hate seeing any driver be put in that box, but he's very much in that box, and he very much needs to get out of that box. What he needs to do in order to break on through and get that victory, I don't know. He's missing something. What is that something? I don't know. He's hitting his head up against a wall right now trying to figure it out, but I mean, still an impressive run, up to 6th in the point standings, just 53 points out. He's a championship threat, but you gotta win, and that's eluding him right now. Creed's former teammate Austin Hill, coming home 4th out in Phoenix, falls to 2nd in the point standings, just a single point out of the points leader. Now Chandler Smith with his single victory this season. Hill with 2 victories so far this season. Hill is starting to do that thing that he does. He starts out the season very strong with a couple of victories and then starts to fade, running top 10s, running top 5s, just kind of hanging out, not really a contender in the top 3, and that's Hill. That's Hill. This is his career. He's a guy who can get a couple of victories here and there, particularly on the plate tracks, and then kind of falls apart at the seams a little bit. And I feel bad for the guy because he's that guy who I think is going to be stuck in the Xfinity Series for probably another couple of years if he doesn't leave the RCR program, because he's got nowhere to go unless Austin Dillon actually does retire, which, given his streak for DNFs here lately, I don't know. Maybe he's going to get frustrated and just leave, and Hill will be promoted up to the Cup Series, but Hill has nowhere to go over at RCR. They're not going to start a third car over there with how messed up the charter system right now is in the Cup Series, and Hill very much deserves and wants to be in the Cup Series. So where does he go? Probably to another organization. Where that organization is, at the moment, not sure. Your defending champ, Cole Custer, coming home 5th out in Phoenix, moves up to 3rd in the point standings, just 33 points out. Very quietly, having a consistent season, having a really solid season, which is interesting because at this point in the season, it doesn't really matter what you do. Yes, wins are nice, but we're still kind of in the beginning stages of just figuring things out and working on your program, working on the finer details within the program. Midsummer, you really got to start stepping up the heat, and by fall, you really got to be on it by the time the playoffs start. And Cole Custer, I think, is just kind of lukewarm right now, which is exactly where I would want to be if I'm in the Xfinity Series. And I do think he's going to step it up here. That program is very strong. And last year they proved they're kind of the sleeper team that can just show up to Phoenix and really contend for a championship. And just like last year, potentially win it. Now, the reason 90% of you clicked on this video, SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen. Wow. Honestly, 6th out in Phoenix, moves up to 14th in the point standings, 92 points out. Had it not been for the DNF in Vegas due to an engine failure from Colleague Racing, this guy could be top 5 in the point standings. He's not quietly having a very good rookie year. And it scares me because when this guy really gets like 10, 15, 20 races under his belt by the time the postseason starts, he legitimately will probably be a threat for the championship, which is scary. We knew he was going to be good eventually, but I thought, honestly, it was going to take him a better part of this year to kind of get his feet wet, get used to the cars, get used to racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and I mean, he's finishing third, he's finishing second, he's finishing sixth out in Phoenix this weekend. He's a guy who's consistently up there, and that is impressive. No, you don't have to be up there and lead every single lap. You just need to be there at the end when the checkered flag flies, and that's exactly what SVG is doing. We know he's going to be insanely good at Chicago. We know he's going to be insanely good at the road courses, especially next week at COTA, but for now, whoa, he's scary good this early on, and that is sincerely, it should be frightening to everybody in the Xfinity Series, because once he gets some more races under his belt, he's going to start rattling off wins here. Hailie Deegan, oh boy. I mean, listen, a lot of people want to hate on her just because she's a woman. I want to see her succeed because, frankly, my niece is a massive fan of hers, and because of that alone, we should all want to see her succeed. Representation matters a lot. And frankly, I think if any female driver in NASCAR right now can do it, I think Hailie Deegan can. I do think that there are other females coming up behind her that are just as good, if not better than her. But I do think that, frankly, the thing that is holding her back right now, and I'm going to continue to harp on this, is the fact that she is with an underfunded team that is not getting the best support from Ford. She is in a single car organization, so they don't have anybody to really lean on. I'd like to see a technical alliance, maybe with a Stewart-Haas, in order to really help build their notebook and really grow that organization. But this season, the rookie season for Deegan, is very much a throwaway year. This is her getting her feet wet. This is her learning things. This is the organization still continuing to build around her. Again, second-year organization in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and yes, while they are locked into races and they will race in 2024, it still very much feels like they are struggling to keep up the pace and keep up with the changes in the racetrack. That's something that the chemistry between Deegan and her crew chief are continuing to build, but obviously not a great start out there. 33rd out in Phoenix, 31st in the point standings, 146 points out of the points lead. She's not making the postseason. I don't think that that was ever the goal. I do think that her building her notebook, getting that seat time, getting used to these Xfinity cars is really the goal this year. And I think next year, she should really start to really contend for top 10s, top 5s, and maybe even wins next year. If she does that this year, that would be amazing, but I'm not putting that expectation on her, nor should you. And when she has an incident like she had over the weekend and got involved in a couple of incidences, let's not go ahead and just skewer her in the comments. Oh, she sucks. Go away. Because she is a rookie. She is learning. And that's the thing we all have to realize, is that she is still building that notebook. And once she gets it built, once she gets some seat time underneath her, maybe we'll see something out of her. Maybe we won't. Time will tell. What did you guys think of Phoenix? I know the racing was so-so. I know that the restarts were crazy out in Phoenix. Let me know in the comments down below. Give me your hot takes from Phoenix. And with that in mind, the series is off until we head out to Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. First road course of the 2024 season. Watch out for SVG. Watch out for AJ Allmendinger. But that's next weekend, not this coming weekend. So we do have a week off. With that in mind, let's go ahead and check out what the names or the potential names of this show will be. Here is our options and kind of the ideas that we have compiled, put together, checked with copyright and things like that, and made sure that there's nothing out of order. They are on the screen right now. They're going to be up on my social medias at Hey Alan Bailey as well. We are hoping to be able to announce the name hopefully next week, and hopefully we will have a name announced by this time next week. That's the goal anyway. Whether or not it's in a video or whether or not it's on social media, we're not sure yet. So make sure that you stay logged on to arnrace.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. But of course, we're not getting out of this show. We're not putting it to bed until we get to some hot topics, my favorite part of the program. So we will go ahead and start with this. Minecraft, NASCAR, GFA 5, GFA 6 million subscriber dollars, like baseball stadium, Dodger Stadium, LA Coliseum in California. Yes. Moving on. Move the start-finish line at Phoenix, and that will fix the problem if you think about it. No. It's not going to fix the problem. If you're unaware, we talked about this on Shifting Gears yesterday. Restarts at Phoenix are crazy because of the dog leg. It's not because it's the restart. It's not because of where the start-finish line is. It's the dog leg. If you move the start-finish line back to where it was originally on what is now the backstretch, which NASCAR will never do because they moved all the grandstands over to what was turns 1 and 2, which is now 3 and 4. I'm so, even my brain is having issues processing where the start-finish line is, what is turns 1, what is turns 2, 3, 4, etc. Listen, if you move the start-finish line, the dog leg is still going to be a problem. The only thing that would prevent it is if NASCAR puts an out-of-bounds line down there or puts grass down there. And even then, I'm pretty sure one Xfinity driver would just go ahead and run on through there, or maybe an ARCA driver, actually. And it's not going to really solve the problem. I think it was cool at first to see all the cars diving down there, but now it's just kind of a nuisance and kind of ridiculous. I'll tell you, being down there for restarts, it's insane to see cars 5 wide going through there, but it's a pain in the ass. I don't love the idea. I think that we need to just put grass down there and really not eliminate the dog leg, but get rid of the apron and get rid of the possibility of drivers just nose diving it down there, because they get pretty close to that inside wall, and that can be dangerous for guys coming off pit road under green flag pit stop conditions. So I don't like it. Moving the start finish line isn't going to help. Just what we need, a pileup like COTA, first turn several times a lap. Everybody would send their worst equipment to the race. They know it would be junk by lap 30. Yeah, I mean, COTA kind of has a similar problem, and that's not... I don't want to say it's the driver's fault. It's the way that the track's designed. And no, NASCAR putting cones down there or putting it out of bounds in turn 1 at COTA isn't really going to help that issue. When we race next in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in a couple of weeks out at COTA, Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, you're going to see guys diving into turn 1 like there's no tomorrow. A lot of guys want to make that wide arc and make it in there correctly the way that corner was designed. And you're going to get guys who are right up against the inside who just kind of send it in there, brake real hard, and then try to make a U-turn essentially and snap it around or try to. And that's not really going to work. It's going to create more problems than solutions, and I'm not looking forward to it. I love COTA because I think it's a very, 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 very modern racetrack that I think NASCAR deserves to be at. I think that it is too big for NASCAR, frankly, and I do think it is too wide. It's a wonderful, purpose-built racetrack for the Formula One cars, but not so much for NASCAR. So I like it. I like the fact that NASCAR's there. I just would like to see modifications to the racetrack, or at least out-of-bounds rules, off-track rules that are enforced. And that's going to be a problem when we race there in a couple weeks. But, fingers and toes crossed. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. You can go ahead and leave your hot takes in the comments down below. We will go ahead and read them on the next show. Go ahead and leave it in the comments down below, whatever you want the name of this show to be. I'm letting you guys pick it. Thank you so much for all of your name submissions over the course of the last several weeks as we kind of gear up this new show. The thing that was always holding it up is the name, and admittingly coming up with names and things like that, not really my forte. Even people here at ARN were kind of like, because the name being changed, can't put Xfinity in there, what do we call it? So we were struggling with it. So sincerely, thank you guys for your help for naming this show. Hopefully we pick out a really cool name that we all hopefully agree on, and we get a really good thing going here for years to come. So make sure that you mash that subscribe button so that you come back for the next episode in a couple of weeks with our brand new name and our brand new opening. I'm really excited about the opening, actually. And make sure that you log on to arnrace.com in the meantime between episodes for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. I want to thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. We will see you in a couple of weeks for the only last unnamed NASCAR Xfinity Series program. I'm Alan Bailey. We'll see you at the track.